Welcome to StopFake News, the place where we set the record straight on fake news about Ukraine. I'm America House Director Christi Anne Hofland with StopFake's latest dissection of Russian alternate reality. This week's disinformation menu brings you the following. Poroshenko calls for ending Russian sanctions. Is Turkey building a new caliphate for Crimean Tatars in southern Ukraine? Kyiv to cull stray dogs for Eurovision Song Contest. So, let's get to the details. This week, Russian media declared that Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko was calling for Western sanctions imposed on Russia to be lifted. The source for this manipulated claim is an interview the Berliner Morgenpost newspaper conducted with President Poroshenko during his recent official visit to Germany. While Poroshenko did speak about Russian sanctions, he did not advocate lifting them. In fact, his words were completely taken out of context by Russian media. Responding to a comment that ending sanctions against Russia would be convenient for U.S. President Donald Trump, Poroshenko responded, "You know who more than anyone wants sanctions to be lifted? President Poroshenko. But first, Russia must withdraw all its troops from our territory so Ukraine can reestablish its territorial integrity and sovereignty. Prematurely easing sanctions would only strengthen Russia's aggression against Ukraine and put Europe at risk," Poroshenko said, pointing out that the sanctions are working and Russia is paying a high price for its aggression. Not content with pulling President Poroshenko's words out of context, Russian media elicited the help of useful commentator Yuri Svetov, who accused Poroshenko of being inconsistent and toadying up to the new American president. Ukraine's president has never called for Russia sanctions to be lifted. On the contrary, he has advocated further sanctions if Moscow fails to carry out the terms of the Minsk agreement aimed to end the Russian-backed separatist war in eastern Ukraine. Russia's notorious Life News has called the planned Turkish construction of housing for Crimean Tatars displaced by Russia's annexation of Crimea a new Caliphate project. Another Russian publication, utro.ru, claims that Turkish companies are building an individual urban Eden in southern Ukraine just for Crimean Tatars. These publications cite one of the leaders of the Crimean Tatar Mejlis executive governing body, Reza Shevkiev, who recently addressed a regional meeting in Kherson province. Shevkiev talked about Crimean Tatars leaving annexed Crimea. He called this a new form of deportation, whereby Russia makes life on the peninsula so impossible for Tatars that they are forced to leave. Some settle in Kherson Oblast, southern Ukraine, while others go further to Western Europe, he said. "We at Mejlis are concerned that our people will be scattered throughout the world," Shevkiev declared. He hopes that the construction of some 1,000 housing units in Kherson province bordering Crimea will help Crimean Tatars remain close to their historic and ancestral homeland to allow for a speedy return once Crimea is freed. The new units will be settled by Crimean Tatars who have already fled the peninsula. Mejlis is not calling on Crimean Tatars to massively leave Crimea. Rather, it is encouraging them to remain on their ancestral peninsula and continue the struggle against Russian occupation. At the end of January, the Eurovision Song Contest official German language site published a story claiming that Kyiv city authorities were planning a massive culling of stray dogs in preparation for hosting May 2017's Eurovision Song Contest in Ukraine's capital. The article includes petitions addressed to Eurovision organizers, the European Broadcasting Union, and to Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko, calling on them to stop the inhumane killing of street dogs. The article claims that Kyiv enacted similar measures in 2012 when Ukraine hosted the Euro 2012 football championship. In the article, a Ukrainian national living in Berlin cited claims that stray dogs are rounded up and killed because Kyiv animal shelters are filled to capacity. Answering StopFake's inquiry about culling stray dogs in Ukraine's capital, Asya Serpinska of the Kyiv Society for the Protection of Animals pointed out that city authorities did not cull strays in 2012, nor are they culling this year. There are presently some 2,000 strays in Kyiv, and for a city the size of Kyiv, this is an insignificant number, she said. According to Serpinska, Kyiv strays are being killed by so-called dog hunters, people who kill street dogs for sport. She added, it is very difficult to catch dog hunters in the act and very difficult to prosecute them. A representative of the Kyiv city mayor's office, Andrei Malyovany, assured StopFake that when apprehended, dog hunters are criminally prosecuted. That's it for this week. Beware of fakes, be vigilant, and if you spot any disinformation about Ukraine, send it to us for a truth autopsy. Remember, consuming fake news is not only bad for your health and your brain, it's bad for the psychological climate of society. So don't do it. I'm Christi Anne Hofland, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.